All right, today's video is for all of you out there that are ready to become a successful voice actor. I'm going to be giving you practical tips on how to turn something that may be a natural skill for you into an actual business, how to get better at it, and how to hone your craft over time to a place where you have a real professional output and some real chops in the industry. All right, well, let me start by introducing myself. My name is Joel Young. I'm a top-rated seller on Fiverr.com. In fact, I'm one of Fiverr's all-time top earners, and I'm here today to share with you how I started my career on the platform. That's right, I wasn't a voice actor until I started selling on Fiverr, and I know many people have started their career in voice acting on the platform, and now as it's grown with its budding category of voice actors, lots of experienced, seasoned professionals have looked to the platform as a way to expand their business, reach a worldwide audience. There's quite a lot of potential within the platform, and so I thought it'd be a great place right here on Fiverr Talks where we talk about how to use the platform to spend a few minutes talking just to those of you that are ready to become voice actors and sharing some tips and insights with you on how I did that and what I'm still learning today as I'm growing as a voice actor. The first thing you should know about me is that before Fiverr came along, about 8 years ago for me, I was not a voice actor. I'm not classically trained. I didn't go to school for this. I didn't have any real background in this other than as a public speaker, which translates a little bit. All I had was some equipment, some gumption, and a little bit of a push from my sweet wife who said I should give this a try. And that's how I ended up where I am today. It's really no more difficult than that. So I thought I'd just share some things with you that I've been able to do over the years that might actually help you get started. This is more on the philosophical side of things. This is the approach to how you get started. I'd love to make some more videos in the future on the practical side of things, like picking equipment, learning how to do specific things, EQing, all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that, leave me a comment down below and let me know. That way we can know what kind of videos to make for you in the future. The first thing I think you need to do if you're interested in becoming a voice actor is take the time to explore and find your voice. Find your sound. Now, for some of you, if you're like me, if you're a strong personality, this isn't going to be hard. Your sound just kind of comes out when you open your mouth. It comes out of you. You don't know what to do with it. It just is there. But you need to find what sound works best and most naturally for you, because one of the key components of being a good voice actor is being able to do things that are scripted naturally. So that's very hard if you're trying to put up a facade and be something or someone that you're not. So first and foremost, explore your sound. Try to find your voice. Try different styles and different character voices, making your voice sound different ways. See what fits you best, what definitely doesn't fit you, so that as you're taking on projects and talking to clients, you'll know what works for you. You know, in the early days, I used to get a request all the time because I kind of have a kind of a baseline baritone voice. I would get requests all the time to do low movie trailer style voiceovers. And I can tell you, I'm not good at those. My voice does not go that low. I'm lower than some people, but I'm not the super low movie voice guy. And I had to, over time, realize that when people requested that, I just had to say no, because that's not who I was. That's not my voice. And at the end of the day, I wasn't super happy with those products, and they probably weren't either. So finding your voice will help you to know what kind of work to take on, what best fits you, and what the best way to offer your voice to the world is. So make sure you spend some time, ask around, talk to the people closest to you, ask them what sounds most natural and who you are already as a person, so you can figure out what fits best. All right? Now, the second thing that you need to do is begin to slowly correct your bad habits. And this is referring to things like diction and enunciation and even accent work. I hail from the Midwest, the great state of Ohio originally. And I've discovered over the years that there are several things that we say oddly, that the rest of the world really doesn't say. Like, for instance, the word insurance. Most of the world says insurance, but growing up, I used to say insurance, where the emphasis was on the in and not on the sure. Another one would be vehicle. We say vehicle in Ohio. Most people in the rest of the country say vehicle. It's just a different way of saying things. And I learned a lot of this over time with clients bringing things back to me and saying, you say this word odd. One that I get all the time is that I grew up saying the word on, kind of like online. Really, it's supposed to be said on, online. And so you have to find out, what are my bad habits vocally when I'm speaking? Do I tend to say your instead of your? Do I tend to say, fur instead of for? Those things will be important when you're being recorded and scrutinized, and enunciation is important. The way you pronounce things is important. So I'm not saying that I always get it right now, even with 8 years of experience, but I am saying that slowly over time I've discovered that I was doing a lot of things wrong, and it would have been easier if up front I would have stopped and said, okay, what are these things that are regional for me that I need to soften as I'm getting started? That's a very important thing to look out for. The next thing that I think is very, very important is that you need to develop your audible reading skills. This means reading aloud. Now, this is something that we don't often do as adults. It's not very often that you hold something in front of you and read it in front of people. But as a voice actor, everything you do is reading. You're performing a script or you're reading a script, but you're supposed to sound like you're not. And it takes a lot of practice to be able to read something and make it sound like you're not reading it. One of the greatest compliments I've ever gotten is when I'm doing a video and people find out that I was reading a teleprompter, but they couldn't even tell that I was reading a teleprompter because it sounded natural. That comes from tens of thousands of hours of practicing reading things out loud in a natural way so it doesn't sound like I'm reading. So get something that's not the dictionary, get your favorite book, read it out loud, read it in the mirror, read it and record yourself so you can hear yourself reading it. Read it in front of other people so you can get used to reading out loud and sounding natural. Learn how to use punctuation correctly. A lot of us need to go back and learn punctuation. Learn that when there's a comma, we pause, and when there's not a comma, we don't pause. We just go straight through until there's a break, a period maybe at the end of a sentence. I don't know. These are little things that I see, little mistakes that I see young voice actors make a lot that drive me crazy. We need to learn how to use punctuation correctly when we're reading, and that'll really help us. So practice your audible reading skills. And then finally, we're going to get into the things that are more practical. Educate yourself on equipment and become technically proficient at the equipment you're going to need to use in order to become a voice actor. Obviously, this is not rocket science, but it does involve some technical pieces of equipment. You need to have a great mic, a nice interface. You need to know how to work a simple audio interface on your computer, to EQ your sound, which kind of goes into our next point, which is you need to learn to refine your ear so that you can hear mistakes and correct them for people. You can hear the difference between a pregnant pause and a soft pause. You can hear the difference when things don't quite sound right. You can hear it. My wife will often overhear me doing voiceovers in the next room, and she'll say, "Why did you say that sentence 4 or 5 times over? They all sounded the same." But you see, I have trained myself to hear that my tongue clicked in the middle of the first one, or I said the word "are" a little elongated in the second one. I can critique myself as I'm reading, and so you need to learn to refine your ear and educate yourself on the technical side of things so that you can put that all together, create not just a great read vocally, but a nice sound with an EQ and the right equipment and using that equipment right. And that's something I'd love to make a video about later, is the type of equipment to use. So if you're interested in that, leave me a comment down below. But all of these things will make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. And the final thing that you'll need to do if you're going to become a voice actor is you need to learn to educate yourself, learn what the common rates for your services are, or comparable services are, and set your rates appropriately to get started. Now, I can say that my voiceover rates have not changed a ton from beginning to end, but they are about 3 times more expensive now, 8 years later, than they were when I started. So I don't see that as a true formula for here's how you succeed, bump it up by 5% every year or something like that. But you need to find where other people who are selling similar services are at and realize that you are starting off. So you don't need to be the cheapest person in town. In fact, I've got a lot of thoughts on why I think that's a bad idea to always be the cheapest. But you need to be one of the most affordable when you're starting. And then as your client base is growing, your rates can grow and everything kind of grows congruently along with it. So I hope these tips actually encourage you and help you to become the voice actor that you want to be, if that is in fact your dream. If you're interested in more videos like this or learning how to use the Fiverr platform, then subscribe down below. We talk about Fiverr every single week. It's not always about voiceovers or voice acting like this, but I am going to touch on this from time to time because it's one of my areas of passion and one of the things I'm most interested in. So thank you so much for watching this video. Again, my name is Joel Young, user DJ Young, one of Fiverr's top rated sellers and all-time top earners. Thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, keep doing, because the future favors the doers.